For tuning in to Pacific Northwest Primitive Organic Garden, the channel formerly known as Carolina Food Desert. I'm out here taking my dog for a hike, and I think these are some type of wild tulips in bloom. There's quite a large number of them, and they're in a couple different colors, red and yellow and some type of orange, and they're just beautiful. I love to see wildflowers. Important part of our natural ecosystem. Thank you all for tuning in to Pacific Northwest Primitive Organic Garden. Today is April 8th. It's about 77 Fahrenheit, full sun. Beautiful day out here in the garden. I just finished remodeling this hugelkultur bed here. Hugelkultur is a great way to utilize spare wood that you have or wood debris. Provides long-lasting fertility for the plants in your raised bed. Been working on a compost pile here lately. Need to get a pitchfork and start turning that. Just finished harvesting some spinach and some radishes from the cold frame. About to open up the hoop house here and see what we have going on inside. Got some tomato cuttings that look like they're taking root. Wow, it's about 100 degrees in here. Everything in the hoop house seems to be wilting. Wow, it is very, very toasty in here and a prominent algae smell. But it looks like there's lots of spinach, some microgreens, another tomato back there taking root, winter brassicas flowering, got some sweet peas coming up. Wow, to think we're only 164 miles from Canada and all this stuff was planted in November. And it's looking great, and it's only barely April. I love mustard. Got some red Russian commie kale, some strawberries. Been eating this strange Japanese mustard there for a while. It's delicious. Got some more spinach. Some baby purple mustards germinating here. Been coming out here and picking greens off the garlic pretty much every day with dinner. I've decided that I like green garlic sprouts better than I like the bulbs. I gotta get all this spinach out of here quick. It's wilting because it gets too hot in this cold frame, even with the glass off. And you know, it's April, it's time to get spinach out of the cold frame and start putting tomatoes and peppers in the cold frame. I've been harvesting all these greens here. I'm going to throw them in the stock pot, a little bit of coconut oil and some spices. They have this cool little purple bulb at the end of them, something in the radish family. Got some collard greens here. These are fairly new transplants I just put down in this little rock garden. Next to it in the other rock garden we got some sprouting green onions, some radishes, a strawberry, some greens over there. I'm really surprised at how well lettuce and peas are doing in this gravel right here. I honestly didn't think anything was going to germinate. This was just a bunch of rocks that I raked together. Call it my gravel garden. I put down some wildflowers over here as well. Something to feed the pollinators. Got some more purple mustards coming on. I love that Japanese giant red mustard, purple mustard. Tastes just like wasabi to me. Planted some blue potatoes the other day, some purple potatoes. This right here is the best potting mix on the planet. I think I just punctured the bag with the hoe. Look at that happy frog there. Frog's happy because he's got lots of free and local resources, organic produce. Got some chicken manure back there. Out here in the front, got some more collard greens, some turnip greens, some spinach and onions. My centerpiece purple mustard's still doing good. Oh, that's delicious. Back to Pacific Northwest Primitive Organic Garden. I know a HID setup doesn't look like a primitive organic garden, but in this case it actually is. I live in a unheated camping trailer out in the middle of the woods, and this winter it got down into the negative temperatures, and you know, I was jonesing to be growing plants because I come from a kind of a gardening background, and back home in the deep south we can, you know, grow produce year-round in a lot of places pretty easily, and this was my first time trying to grow year-round even in the winter in a very cold climate. And you know, I had snow coming in this door here because the camping trailer is not very well insulated. You can see the duct tape. I had ice and snow coming in the door, but my HID setup here was not only making sure I had plenty of fresh food to eat all winter, it was keeping the house warm. And I got space heaters in the front of the house in the living room, and I'll tell you what, this HID light here with the high pressure sodium bulb, it kept the back of the house warmer than the space heaters were keeping the front of the house. And to be fair, it is an unventilated, I didn't get, you know, an air cooled type of HID setup. It's a non-air cooled. It's basically, you know, just a gigantic incandescent bulb sitting in the back of my room here. But now that it's April and it's 70 degrees outside, you can see on the thermometer here, we're at 20% humidity in the extremely dry section, and the temperature here, you know, is sitting at 94 at the moment. The tomatoes are wilting. Luckily, it still gets cold enough back here at nighttime that they're having no problem setting fruit. But I found some red spider mites on my basil. Luckily my purple basil's doing good. The only things back here that I really care about are the purple basil and my 2 blue tomatoes. I don't have any more seeds for blue tomatoes, and they're somewhat hard to come by. They're actually blue, the tomatoes. Got more basil here in the back. Some greens, some more tomato cummins coming up. I got some collard greens back here, but I don't need them. I need to thin them out. Honestly, I want to get rid of everything back here because it's just too bloody hot in the house, and I think as soon as we're past our last frost date for the year, which will be May 12th, I'm gonna put all this stuff outside, and I'm gonna, you know, shut off this light so that I'm not sweating back here all the time. But the tomatoes are doing good, especially the green cherries here. They've put on quite a lot of fruits. I've already picked 8 or 12 tomatoes off of this one plant, and it's still got plenty more fruits on it, and it's still setting some. This was supposed to be a cherry tomato back here, but looks a little big for a cherry. Got some blue leeks, but I'm most proud about that purple basil there and those blue tomatoes. Pacific Northwest Primitive Organic Garden. You can see my oregano here has climbed the light fixture that's powering it. Oregano is such an interesting plant. We got some different lettuces, some spinach mustard over here, some Ford Hook giant chard. We got some pink flamingo chard, some more collard green plants. We got some Italian oregano, the Greek oregano's outside. Got some more purple mustard over here. big old collard green plant in a little tiny juice container there. Some ruby red chard, some endive and mustard. My palm tree is doing a little bit better now that I got the humidity in the house down a good bit and it's getting a little bit warmer. Palm tree suffered hard this winter when the house was in the 40s. But yeah, I'm getting to the point where I don't really need this indoor salad garden anymore either. It's just so nice outside. To Pacific Northwest Primitive Organic Garden. Today we are transplanting tomato seedlings from the indoor garden into the hoop house. I also need to clean out all of the spinach that's taken over the cold frame. You know, this time of year, early April, we don't need spinach in the cold frame. We need tomatoes in the cold frame. So these are cherry tomatoes. This is still a seedling here for a cherry. Cherries are closer to the center of origin of wild tomatoes, Solanum lycopersicans, not Solanum lycopersicum. And what we're going to do is we're going to remove pretty much all of the leaves off of this. Tomatoes, you know, and some other solanaceous plants are capable of rooting all the way down the stem. So we're going to remove most of the leaves, and we're going to allow this whole stem to turn into a massive root system. I think we're going to place this cherry tomato seedling here into this netted bucket, and we're going to fill it with a mixture of some steer manure, some composted vegetable scraps, and a little bit of biofish compost there. And the idea here is that nice rich compost mix is going to nurse this seedling until it's more vigorous. We got quite a bit of grass competition inside the hoop house, and I don't want to take the hoop house apart to hoe. So we're going to allow this tomato seedling here to get a really good head start and all that rich compost with the fish. And then we're going to simply place this bucket right on top of some of the grass that's in our hoop house. And what's going to happen is this whole stem here is going to turn into a massive... Oh, I just broke it. Now it's not. Had I not just snapped it, this whole thing would have turned into a massive root system. And it would produce roots that would come all the way through the holes in the bucket here and take over and defeat the grass competition. What our cherry tomato seedling looks like after pruning. You can see we've pruned off pretty much all of the leaves on the cherry tomato plant. We're still allowing the meristematic tissue, the vegetative propagation of the plant. Some people call these suckers. We're allowing these to continue, but you'll notice we've removed all of the large leaves off of the plant, and all we have is the new meristematic growth at the apical meristem, as well as the meristematic growth at the nodes of the plants, the suckers. And so all of this here is going to turn into a root system for us. So what we're going to do here, we only have a 12-inch bucket. We're going to fit 12 inches of this stem into the bucket and bury the entire thing with good composted steer manure, vegetable compost, biofish. And then we're going to take this stem here that we've removed the foliage from, and we're going to lay that stem down over the grass competition in our greenhouse, and we're going to mulch it good with some steer manure. And what's going to happen is this whole root system here, this whole stem is going to be a massively vigorous root system, and it's going to take over this grass competition in the greenhouse without us having to do a whole lot of hoeing. You can see there's a tiny bit of grass in the back corner there. There's also a little bit of grass in this back corner. And we don't want to take all this plastic off right now to do that hoeing, so we're just going to outcompete it with this vigorous cherry tomato here. Our cherry tomato seedling looks like after we've pruned off all the leaves. We've left one large sucker here and one large sucker at the top, and this whole main stem is going to turn into a root mass for us. We removed all the leaves from our collard green companion plants. That's going to be some dinner. And now we're going to put this tomato here in a new netted bucket, and it's going to go on top of the other grass competition. Pacific Northwest Primitive Organic Garden. We finished transplanting our first large cherry tomato plant into one of our netted buckets and put it on top of our grass competition in the greenhouse. You can see we have a small bit more grass in the back corner there. We're going to take this second tomato cherry seedling, and this time we're going to remove the meristematic growth, the suckers here. We didn't on the last one because most of the suckers were pretty small, and we actually want them to form their own plants in there. This one we're going to kind of keep as our backup, just in case it's a little bit too early to be putting tomato plants outside, in case we get another hard frost. We're going to take all of this meristematic tissue here as cuttings and place it in a glass of water, and it'll root, and we'll have backup plants inside in case this one dies from the cold. But other than removing the suckers this time, we're going to use the same procedure. We're going to remove all of the large leaves, and then we're going to try to bury as much of this stem as possible so that it roots.